Anu, it's over to you.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to all our distinguished speakers, industry leaders, telecom exporters, member of TEPC, representatives from Indian Exim Bank, and participants joining us from across the country. I am Anu Sharma on the behalf of Telecom Equipment and Service Export Promotion Council, TEPC, and Export Import Bank of India. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to today's webinar on promoting exports from the telecom sector. As India continues its journey towards becoming a global telecom manufacturing and innovation hub, exports have emerged as a key driver of growth and international competitiveness. The telecom sector today stands at an exciting juncture, supported by strong policy initiatives, technological advancements, and growing global demand for trusted and cost-effective telecom solutions. Today's webinar has been specially designed to provide valuable insights into India's telecom export landscape, emerging opportunities across global markets, and the financial and the institutional support available to exporters from India Exim Bank. We have experts from the Indian Exim Bank to brief the telecom fraternity on the subject. Before we begin, may I request all participants to kindly keep their microphones muted throughout the session. If you have any question, please feel free to post them in the chat box and raise your hands too. We will take them up during the interaction sessions towards the end of the program. So without further delay, let us today begin the proceedings. It's now my privilege to invite Shri Arun Gupta, Director General, Telecom Equipment and Service Export Promotion Council, to deliver the welcome address. Shri Arun Gupta has been at the forefront of several initiatives aimed at strengthening India's telecom export ecosystem. Under his leadership, TPC has actively worked towards enhancing market access for Indian telecom companies, creating international business opportunity, and promoting India telecom capability across the globe. Sir, we are grateful for your leadership and guidance in advance India's telecom export ambitions. May I request you, sir, to kindly deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Anu. Respected Shri Arnab Roy, Chairman TPC and co-founder, managing director and chief executive officer of Tejas Networks Limited. Mr. Dharmendra Sachan, General Manager, Corporate Communications Group, India Exim Bank. Ms. Yogita Hatangadi, General Manager, MSME Group, India Exim Bank. Shri Rahul Mazumdar, Deputy General Manager, Research and Analysis Group, India Exim Bank. Distinguished members of telecom industry, esteemed participants, ladies and gentlemen who have joined us this webinar online. It is a matter of great privilege and honor to welcome you all to this joint webinar organized by Telecom Equipment and Services Export Promotion Council, known as TEPC, and the India Export Import Bank, the Exim Bank of India, on the theme of promoting exports from telecom sector. India's telecom sector has emerged as one of the most dynamic and transformative forces in our economy. From the domestic market of over 1 billion connected subscribers to a globally competitive manufacturing and services ecosystem, the journey of Indian telecom has been nothing short of remarkable. Today, we are not only a large consumer of telecom technologies, but are fast becoming a significant innovator, producer, and exporter as well. I'm happy to share that India's telecom exports have witnessed a remarkable growth of nearly 87% between 2021 and 2025, increasing from USD 3.19 billion to USD 5.97 billion, reflecting the growing global competitiveness of Indian telecom industry, a testament to the capability, competitiveness, and confidence in our industry. This is not just a step, it is a signal that the world is increasingly looking towards India for telecom solutions. In 2025, India's telecom exports reached nearly USD 5.97, as I told. However, with India's share constituting only 0.2% of the total global telecom import market of approximately USD 2.94 trillion. The sector has tremendous untapped export potential that we must collectively strive to realize. TEPC is moving ahead with the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji to position India as a large and influential exporter of telecom technology. This vision provides us both the direction and the inspiration to go further faster. The government's flagship initiatives, Make in India, PLI schemes for telecom and networking products, and the push for Atmanirbhar Bharat in critical technologies have led to a strong foundation. Indian companies are increasingly manufacturing world-class, state-of-the-art telecom equipment and that are trusted too, providing cutting-edge network solutions and delivering telecom services across the geographies. The time is ripe to channel this momentum into even greater global trade. India Exim Bank extends support to the industry across all the sectors for their exports to make Honorable Prime Minister's vision a reality. This webinar has been organized for creating awareness amongst the telecom equipment and services fraternity about the support provided by India Exim Bank to the exporters through various products, services, and programs offered by bank. I am confident that all the existing exporters as well as companies planning for telecom export will be benefited by the webinar. Thanks a lot for being with us for the webinar. I again welcome all the participants to this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for insightful remark and for setting the stage for today's important discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my distinct honor to introduce our keynote speaker for today's webinar, Shri Arnab Roy. Shri Roy serves as the chairman of TEPC and is the co-founder, managing director, and chief executive officer of Tejas Networks, one of the India's leading telecom technology companies. He has over 36 years of experience in research and development, operation and sales in the high-tech industry. A distinguished industry leader, Mr. Roy has played a pivotal role in advancing indigenous telecom innovation and manufacturing in India. With decades of experience in telecom technology, business leadership, and global market development, he brings a unique perspective on the opportunities and challenges shaping the future of the telecom sector. We look forward to hearing his insights on India's telecom sector and its growing role in the global market. Sir, may I request you to kindly address the gathering?
Yeah, so thank you, Anu, and thanks for the introduction, and thanks to the organizers for uh, letting me address this audience. So I'd like to share a presentation that I have that I'd like to walk the audience through. So just give me a second while I do that. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir, your screen is visible.
Okay. So thanks once again for letting me address the audience. So I speak about the Indian telecom sector more from a perspective of an OEM, of an indigenous manufacturer of telecom equipment, because this webinar is more towards how we can take Indian technology and take it globally, and how Exim Bank can support us in that endeavor. So, with that perspective, I'll talk about the sector. So, first of all, India has as my previous speakers talked about, has a very vibrant ecosystem, a vibrant telecom industry, which is very attractive for any telecom OEM for developing the products. I mean, not only does India's telecom industry adopt cutting edge technology, but its own special requirements, and because of its population, of the diversity of the population, and the pace at which the digital economy is being embraced by the nation, provides unique opportunities for telecom OEMs to innovate, even for this market, for the Indian market. And the other interesting part is that the Indian market also resembles, I mean, a lot of global emerging economies. A lot of the or the other way around, a lot of global emerging economies also have very similar characteristics in many ways, to what we have in India. So the technologies that we develop and innovate for India are very, very applicable to those markets as well, and and provide a prime opportunity for our OEMs based in India to address those markets for export. So the stats are pretty well known. I mean, the fixed broadband subscribers have been growing at a very rapid pace. The mobile subscribers going at a very rapid pace and close to 1 billion right now. 4G, 5G has been deployed extensively. The fixed broadband subscribers, the high bandwidth consumers, are also growing rapidly, but there's a long way to go in providing that connectivity, and there are a lot of initiatives from the government which is happening in that direction. The India remains one of the highest consumers of data in terms of gigabits per user per month. Number of smartphone users, again, one of the largest in the world, and basically represents how the Indian economy and the Indian population have adopted, the digital technology for furthering their not only their economic growth, but also for their personal requirements. So, and the scale is really something which is unprecedented, and provides an opportunity, as I said, for Indian OEMs to develop technology and products for this market. Uh, the telecom infrastructure today is quite large and well developed. More than 800,000 telecom towers. 5G has seen a very rapid adoption and deployment. India was saw one of the fastest deployment of 5G. We were one of the leaders in the world in this space, and more than 500,000 towers have been deployed. More than 4 million kilometers of fiber deployed across multiple operators, both private as well as in the public sector. Data center capacity is growing rapidly. I mean, India was behind in the data center investments, but the way we see today, the data center expansion is happening at a very rapid pace. The broadband is connecting more than 200,000 villages, as we know about the BharatNet Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3 programs. There's a rapid connectivity being provided at the block level and also the village level for proliferating broadband to the to the last user, to the entire population in the country, and especially to the villages. Because as a which is promised to be the engine of economic growth at the most remote corners of the country. Smart cities, the smart city implementations have happened at a rapid pace, and today we have more than 100 plus smart cities in the country. The railways have a large number of stations that have been deployed with the Wi-Fi connectivity. The National Knowledge Network, where more than 1,500 institutes are connected, and the state-wide area networks, which have been there for a while and getting upgraded, every day as we speak. So this is just a snapshot of the infrastructure. This doesn't talk about the number of telecom operators that we have, number of ISPs that we have, and there's the number of economic entities who are dealing in the space is a significant number. So leveraging this telecom infrastructure and the market that we have over the last, I would say, 15, 20 years, there has been a solid ecosystem of product companies that have emerged. I'm proud to say Tejas has been one of them. When we started the company in year 2000, we saw the opportunities of a telecom market growing, the telecom networks really exploding in the country. And based on the opportunity, we started the company. And like us, there have been multiple companies across India specializing in many different technologies which go into building this telecom infrastructure. So this spans across a lot of the wireless as well as what we call the wireline or the fixed line technologies. In wireless today, India has the indigenous capabilities of not only 4G but 5G, advanced 5G radio technology, um, and the entire solution for building 4G, 5G, mobile networks, which includes the radio networks, the backhaul, and the core and the packet core, which comprises the entire solution for building networks. And as you know, the Indian indigenous industry has progressed quite a bit over the last 4 or 5 years in building this solution and deploying this solution across the country. In the broadband space, there is while in both in homes as well as residents as well as enterprises, a lot of FTTX technology based on GPON, gigabit PON, has been deployed and is getting deployed at a very rapid pace. You saw the pace at which the fixed broadband subscribers are increasing. We are starting to see the adoption of 10 gigabit PON, and at certain point of time, the 50 gigabit PON will also, FTTX will also reach homes. And the industry today, the Indian OEM industry, is well positioned with these products. These products have already been developed to be able to support the deployment of this broadband network. The two other critical aspects of building telecom network is switching routing technologies. And as you have seen demonstrated in recent BharatNet, the deployments, the tenders that have happened, the entire, the BharatNet build out has happened recently using completely indigenous technology. They're absolutely completely Atmanirbhar, and there have been multiple vendors who have supplied for this network, and there have been more than 100,000 routers of different sizes which have been deployed in the country. Not only that, in many other networks, both private and the public telco networks, routers are a backbone of the telecom network, and there have been a lot of indigenous deployment in those networks as well, even beyond BharatNet. And BharatNet has been a very large-scale deployment and a proof of the maturity and stability of Indian technologies in this area. The other very critical aspect is what we call the optical technologies. Basically, this is the wavelength division multiplexing technology, which are used for building backbone networks in the metros as well as nationwide, and so going undersea and across continents and so on, for high capacity transmission of data across over long distances. So India also has a very mature technology, absolute state of the art with respect to global competition in this area. And we see a huge adoption of this technology as the telcos, especially applicable for data centers, like interconnecting data centers, interconnecting the AI cloud centers that are coming up, for building backbone networks for wholesale bandwidth providers, for the mobile operators, for enterprise services, for utilities. So this is basically the backbone technology which serves many different applications in telecom networks. And I'm proud to say that India has cutting edge technology which matches with the global leaders in this area as well. So um, in summary, what I would like to say is across the Indian OEM ecosystem, we have solutions, with the combination of various OEMs and the technology they provide, not only in hardware, but also the software solutions and system engineering, network engineering, design, optimization, OSS, BSS, everything put together, management software, everything put together. We have all the components for building state-of-the-art networks globally, across wireless networks, wireline networks, broadband networks, critical infrastructure. We have all as a combination of technologies across various companies, various OEMs that we have. We have, all the products required for building end-to-end solutions, which can be deployed in many countries. I know many of them are getting exported and in bits and pieces, and sometimes as complete solutions as we speak. Of course, there's a long way to go, and this is what this webinar is all about. But I want to basically say that today, Indian technology is ready, is and state of the art and complete and proven in a very vast telecom network in India and ready to be taken to the rest of the world. It is happening in smaller amounts, but I think this is the time where we really need to accelerate this, give a huge momentum, huge push, and build momentum to proliferate our Indian technology globally. Here is an example of some of the vibrant indigenous OEM ecosystem that we have, and some of the players. I mean, this is again a limited list of OEMs that I have mentioned over there for lack of space, which are providing products in all of these technology areas that I talked about, right? So as you can see, even this limited list looks quite big, and and all aspects of the technologies and products required for building state-of-the-art telecom networks. Everything is available in the Indian indigenous ecosystem. So a lot of this innovation, I mean, I have to really thank the government of India for the last few years, the policies that they have designed for providing this momentum, for building these technologies, right from preference to Make in India policies, the PLI's policies for increasing manufacturing, the DLI, design link incentives, the RDI funds for IPR creation, the stand for the driving global standards, the telecom standard bodies TSDSI, Bharat 6G Alliance for driving global standards and for growing patents in all of these technologies. And then the government G2G, the government to government line of credit and grants that have been provided. So all of these put together have been very instrumental in providing an impetus to the indigenous ecosystem, the indigenous OEM ecosystem. As we know, India is full of top-notch engineering talent, which can build all kinds of products and services. The high-tech products and services in all domains. Telecom is just one of them, and supportive policies from the government of India has helped us a lot in building all of these technologies and getting adoption in India. It is time that we focus our energies on how to take this technology globally, and I think Exim Bank has a very critical role to play over here. And I guess during the period of this during the session, during this webinar, we'll have a lot of discussions in this area, and I also look forward to ideas from Exim Bank in this area. So, in summary, India is an ideal partner for the telecom solutions for many countries across the world, to all countries across the world. As I said, the products being developed for India are very rugged, solid, mature, scaled to address a population of 1 billion plus. So they are quite proven in very tough operating conditions to be, and that can be, reliably deployed across the world. We are also considered a trusted partner. We build technology which are considered to be trusted technologies and a source of trusted solutions that can be built for security sensitive networks. We provide local manufacturing support in many countries. We provide high technology and quality at very competitive prices. We provide end-to-end solutions across the combination of companies that we have. And as part of our initiative of exporting our products, we can be your ideal partner for those countries for developing the skills in this area for our export partners. So we offer, as I said, a complete package of knowledge, of products, of solutions, and training and etc. for the rest of the world. And I look forward, in the next few years, how we can actually aggressively promote and market our products and get them adopted worldwide. So that brings me to the end of my presentation, and thank you very much for your patience and for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Shri Arnab Roy, sir, for sharing your valuable perspectives. Your insights on the industry achievement and the opportunities that lie ahead have certainly provided a strong foundation for the discussion that will follow. We now move to our next session on export potential from the telecom sector. For this session, it's my pleasure to introduce Shri Rahul Majumdar, Deputy General Manager in the Research and Analysis Group at India Exim Bank. Shri Majumdar has extensive experience in economic research, international trade analysis, and sectoral studies. Though his work he has contributed significantly to understanding evolving export space for India across promising sectors, global trade dynamics, and export competitiveness across various sectors. Given the rapidly evolving global telecom landscape, his insights will be valuable in helping Indian companies identify new opportunities and strengthen their international presence. Sir, we look forward to your presentation, and the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Mr. Roy. Good afternoon, Mr. Gupta. So when Mr. Roy was actually started giving the presentation, I was wondering whether I would have enough to speak and add to when I start giving the presentation. But I'll try my best nevertheless. So yes, when this telecom equipment industry, in fact, it has grown over a period of time. But when we say it has grown, the telecom equipment industry, it has not been grown in silos. It has grown with the telecom services industry as well, which has been nurtured carefully over the last almost 25 years or more. So if we go back to even the late 90s, just to give, we see the post-liberalization period and into the early 2000s. We all remember when the PCO era was there. They were everywhere, on almost every street corner. But then and gradually, we saw a wave of foreign companies coming into India, a beeline into of Indian telecom space, bringing competition, innovation, and I felt somewhere down the line.
Rahul, you are on mute again. Somehow you've gone on mute mode.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Over a period of time, we see it in early 2000s, there were the likes of Hutchison, which has come into India. Then they move into multiple joint ventures. Vodafone came into India by taking over Hutchison. And what follows was multiple of other telecom companies which came in. And most of these telecom companies which played a significant role in India's demand for telecom equipment today. And today, when we speak of this significant demand, in fact, in the last 10 years or so, the demand have been upsurged. And from a period when we had a trade deficit, we started having a trade surplus. So here are a few slides which I would like to just run through, where we'll give a glimpse of how the global and the Indian scenario has panned out. So you'll find, though India in the last few years, in the curve on the left-hand side, it has gone significantly from just 5.9 billion of exports around 5 years back to almost $35 billion in calendar year basis in 2025. But when we look at the top competitors, we find China and Vietnam, Hong Kong. These are the few countries that are way ahead of us. And this is something that we would like to aspire for as we go ahead in this journey. Nevertheless, we can always be proud that we are today, in the last few years of development, we are the fifth largest telecom equipment exporters. But globally, on the right-hand side, you will find that almost around 870 plus $1 billion export market that we have, which are the products that are actually getting exported. Firstly, it's the machines and the reception that is almost there, the smartphones that are there. And these two by itself constitutes almost 70%. Flat panel, domestic, and part telecom sets, and all those things are the rest of it, 30% of it. So the market that is actually being looked up to is one of those 70% which we India could actually aspire for. India specific export, as we are mentioning, and you see the trend that has been showing up there. A point of time was there for a long period, we had a trade deficit. But in recent times, we have moved ahead of the curve and now we have a 6.1 billion trade surplus as we speak for calendar year 2020. This essentially shows that the very fact that we have moved ahead, there's no point and there will not be a possibility that we could go back. Imports for data, you'll find the telecom segments that is there will be more telecom equipment that is playing a role rather than other part of it. This graph is essentially showcases where India is making its mark. Smartphones for wireless networks that has actually played a significant part after a big setup was set up in Bangalore with having a trade surplus of rather exports of $30 billion, and the markets predominantly have been US, UAE, and Australia. The reddish graph that you see on the right hand side is where we face competition, all the key segments where we are actually exporting. So while India is exporting almost $30 billion, India's share is still around 10%, and as I was mentioning, China and Vietnam way ahead of it. In other four segments where India is actually exporting, and the next four key export items, India faces competitions from mostly China and Vietnam. So these countries are the ones which are something that we could always look into and how this has actually been achieved. While China goes on scale, Vietnam also does it. But Vietnam at the same time is a small, tiny country which has its policies and programs in its place, which has allowed it, in fact, to be among the, like, in fact, today in India also we are having it. But Vietnam over a period of time developed a significant amount of electronic and electrical items, which plays almost the top 5 exported items of India, of its country. While the exports are there, their dependency on imports remains significant. Without these components, it can, any point of time, there can be a trigger which can impact India's ability to export. And hence it becomes important that we try and play to its part that we are able to secure our growth. And these are items like telephone sets, as simple as telephone sets, telephone networks, machines for receptions. These are items from which we actually import from the likes of in China, Ireland, US, Singapore, Vietnam. So these are countries from where we actually are very much dependent to have our products imported so that we can actually make the assembly of these, many of these products that are there. Like sir was mentioning previously, in fact, the government of India's active policies in the Atmanirbhar regime, if I say post-COVID, when the PLI scheme was announced, has given significant benefit to the entire industry. Whether it be the telecom network with a PLI scheme for large-scale electronics manufacturing, electronics component manufacturing, or modified electronic manufacturing clusters. All these schemes together have played a distinct role in where we stand today and where we have a trade surplus as far as telecom equipments are concerned. On the right-hand side, you find the FDI inflows into this segment. Of course, this again has got propelled given the government of India's proactive policies. The computer software and hardware segments you would find has zoomed up almost, whereas telecommunications, which is almost the services part of it, has now been largely narrowed. It was also being mentioned that what's the new age demands for telecom equipments. So let's say around 6 years back, these possibly were not among the radar. But today with data centers, active optical cables, 5G network requirement, power equipment, cooling systems, which are going to be an integral part of data centers going ahead. These are something that the telecom equipment has a huge role to play and possibly a market that is going to be yet be explored. There's a surge in demand, let's see, for the artificial intelligence data centers, like we are having many in Visakhapatnam, Mumbai, Chennai, and elsewhere. These are going to be one of the pockets where telecom equipment will see a significant growth propensity. This is like the previous presentation was also mentioning. So these are some of the many of these foreign companies which are actually lined up in India, given the potential that is there in telecom equipment, whether it is Cisco, Jabil in USA, Nokia, which has again come back to India in a big way. Nothing's from UK, Shriram's SGS Technologies, Sedan. So these are all, and in fact, there are many more than these, which are actually coming into India and doing up and to tap into the huge, vibrant India's democratic market. This slide essentially would like to just present to you the way forward. Of course, the industry participants will be knowing much better perhaps, but from a market point of view, there are export diversification that is required. As I am mentioning, we have some pockets where we export, and again, there are pockets from where we actually import, where the dependency is quite high. So those needs to be nurtured and see how best uh, lined up so that there's no depth of issues that the equipment industry faces. The deepen the export processes over there, create global leaders in the sector, such as something like Samsung or in Korea that they have built up over a period of time. India could also look at it as we build up over this, given the large plethora of market that is there, the greater financial support, and explore how best we can fit into them, reducing the import dependency, as I was mentioning. In fact, one of the rare earth, which is on and off, is not only on telecom, but even the electronic industry that is actually dependent on it. The automobile industry, again, that's again dependent on it. So the semiconductors, so all these things are going to be huge concern that is there, which needs to be elevated as point of time. Going ahead, the R&D infrastructure. So as we are all aware, the R&D investments in India are quite low as compared to many of the developed countries, and that requires significant attention. The industry academia linkages has to be more empowered. And one more fact that is that though we may say that a number of engineers that are coming out of every year or almost in lakhs, but it's important that the industry engages with this lot of these academia and see where do they fit into and how they most become feasible when they could be hired as and when they complete education. Lastly, Government of India over the last few years have been trying its best to multiple free trade agreements that are there. Most of these free trade agreements almost have 95% of the tariff items that are open to all, and at 0% tariff in some cases. Some are going over a period of time that is going to get reduced, whether it be UK, whether it be Oman, UAE, Australia. So these are also an area where the telecom equipment industry can look into and see how best they can fit into this demand that they have in these countries. That's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shri Majumdar sir, for that insightful and data-driven presentation. Your analysis of global telecom trade trends and export opportunities has provided valuable guidance for companies looking to expand their footprint in international markets. We now move to the next session, focusing on the various products and service offered by India Exim Bank to support exporters. It's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Yogita Hatangdi, General Manager, MSME Group, India Exim Bank. Ms. Yogita brings rich experience in export finance, business development, and enterprise support. Throughout her distinguished career, she has worked closely with business across sectors, helping them access financial solutions and expand their international operations. Today, she will be sharing how Exim Bank products and service can support telecom companies in scaling their export business and exploring new markets with confidence. Ma'am, we are delighted to have you with us, and the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you so much, Miss Anu, for the generous introduction. And thank you so much for the opportunity as well. And a warm welcome to all the TPC members today. So I'll just briefly take you all through quickly, I'll be giving a presentation on Exim Bank, what we are, who we are, and our products, which are designed for the industry, right from the small MSMEs to the large corporates. We have a product for each company at each stage of their growth journey. So just to give a brief introduction about the bank, we were set up under an act of the Parliament in 1981 by the Government of India, and we are 100% owned by the Government of India. And in the international markets, we are treated at par with sovereign, and our international investment grade ratings are also at par with sovereign. In terms of business, we have a portion of policy business which we are doing, which is guaranteed by the Government of India. And I'll be talking about the business verticals also in the next slides. So largely talking about the range of products and services that we have, like I mentioned earlier, we have a product or a service for each company or a corporate or an enterprise engaged in any part of the life cycle of that enterprise. So for every stage of your life cycle, there is a dedicated product that the bank has, which we'll be talking about. Coming to quickly touching upon the policy business. In terms of policy business, what we are doing is that we are extending lines of credit, the G2G lines of credit. We are an implementing agency under the Government of India's lines of credit business, like Arnab sir already mentioned that this business is largely guaranteed by the Government of India. And here, as on March 26, we had around 307 LOCs covering 63 countries with already credit commitment of more than $27 billion signed. So here what happens is that the Indian exporters get a chance to explore the overseas markets by onboarding as contractors under these lines of credit. And the interesting part that we are going to see in the next slide is on the sector focus. Here, as we can see that a large part of the lines of credit is in the connectivity or the telecom sectors as well. So, it brings a lot of meaning for us to, make this presentation here, because the members of TEPC can always, keep checking our websites and try and apply to the contracts as and when they are available, and register themselves as one of the eligible contractors under the lines of credit business and start exploring these markets as well. In terms of the exposure in overseas markets, we have largest exposure in Asia, followed by Africa. And since these lines are guaranteed by Government of India, the payment risk to the exporter is not there, even though even if the lines are given in geographies which are a bit difficult, the payment risk does not accrue to the exporter. That entire risk is completely taken care of. These are some of the examples of the lines of credit business contracts that we have undertaken in the recent past. Coming to our commercial business vertical, here I'll be talking about all the products that we have. So starting with R&D or an export product development product that we have introduced. So this product is actually designed for those companies who want to start R&D activities and want to invest in their R&D activities, but they do not find a financing partner to help them to do it. So under this program, we are not only doing the capital expenditure financing, but we are also covering the revenue expenditures of the companies who are undertaking R&D. Plus, the loans can be given either in Indian rupees or in dollars or in any other FC currency, foreign currency. And the repayment and the tenor is suitably structured with appropriate moratorium so that it is properly matched with the R&D being successful and the payments or the income from that R&D starting to accrue to the companies. So another product that again, which is very close to R&D is the export product development. Under this, we've seen that a lot of companies do reverse engineering and develop products by seeing what are the already available products in the market. So in this, what we are helping the companies to do is that we are helping them to fund the cost of manufacturing of the prototypes or making some certain scale down pilot plants or developing some toolings or jigs and fixtures which will help them to develop a product which will be accepted in the export markets. So this is something that I feel again is very, very relevant to the telecom sector, because here again, we can help a lot of the companies to start developing, like Rahul has also shown, a lot of our imports in the telecom sector, we are import dependent in the telecom sector. So if there are, opportunities to develop these products in-house, then we will definitely be able to support such research activities of the companies here. These are some of the examples that we have supported in the past. The Chandigarh-based SML Mahindra or Dynamic Technologies, which is a Bangalore-based company. Then once the R&D is developed, the second stage of the company would be, to start manufacturing the products that they have, developed in-house. So there again, we will help in bringing in a production equipment finance, which will be, helpful for you to start in either there are two parts to this. There is either an import finance program or a production equipment finance program. Under the import finance program, we are funding those machineries which you would like to import from abroad and start developing or start using it in India and manufacturing products, and then again exporting it. In the production equipment finance program, again, similar concept is there, but here we can also fund domestic machinery. Again, it can be in Indian rupees or foreign currency, and the repayment and tenor is again suitably structured in line with when the machinery starts or goes into production and the cash flows are stabilized. Again, I would like to mention one thing is that India Exim Bank, when it lends in US dollars or in a foreign currency, it is not termed as an external commercial borrowings. It is termed as a foreign currency term loan. So the companies who take these foreign currency term loans from India Exim Bank, they do not have to get into the hassles of doing additional regulatory filings which are otherwise required in ECB. So and also, like the in terms of tenors also we can be very flexible. In terms of prepayments also we can be flexible, which is not the case in case of an ECB loan. So there that kind of flexibilities are offered by the bank, and largely we are an institution where our balance sheet is largely dollarized in terms of our lending also and in terms of our borrowing also. So the rates also that we offer are much more competitive than any other banks or FIs, where that is also because, like I mentioned in the previous slide, that in the international market we are treated as being at par with the sovereign, and ratings are at par with sovereign, which helps us to raise dollar or FC currencies at a very cheap rate. So that's what, and then that is then passed on to our clients. Some examples of the production equipment or the import finance programs. Coming to term loan to export oriented units. Now here, what we are doing is we are financing the large scale projects. So in production equipment, while we are funding only the machinery part of it, under this program, we can do the land building and setting up of the entire units, and we can fund these, large scale projects or which require larger periods of repayments and things like that. So here again, difference being that land building is included in this program. Some examples, again, Himmat Singha being again a Bangalore based and a smaller company, Pakka Limited in Uttar Pradesh that we have funded. Again, coming to the working capital, which is a funded, non-funded program. Here again, we give working capital term loans to companies for meeting their working capital requirements, which is within the MPPF. In this program, we can, under the working capital financing or funded programs, we also do one very special program, which is called the cash flow deficit financing program. Under that program, what we have also, why that program was developed, I will discuss briefly here. So what happens is when a company gets a new order, let's say you are having a setup, you have already set up a working capital facility with say X bank, and you've already had a MPBF assessed by the bank, and the business is going on as usual. But now today you get an export order which is worth which is a large export order, and now you need a specific line or a specific funding for that. But because it will, on the day one, the MPBF will not be factoring in the receivables, or the stocks will not be to that extent. So you will not be able to get that kind of funding from a normal commercial bank. So Exim Bank has put in place this program for such companies, where we fund the deficit under the program, and we fund those specific export orders, and we are able to give you that loan so that you are able to execute that export order. Now here, what is benefit? Benefit is to everybody. You are able to do the export order. We are able to give you the funding, and the bank with whom you're already partnering does not see us as a competitor, because this is going to be a one-time facility. So the bank which is already partnered with you is, anyway having a regular line with you. So there, they do not see us as a competition, and then they also sort of come forward and support the company. So this program also, we have done, a lot of good companies have taken benefit under this program as well. These are some of the recent examples of the program, of the companies funded in the program. Overseas investment finance is a very, very unique and a very, it's a flagship program of the bank. Here we are giving loans to Indian companies for equity investments in joint ventures or wholly owned subsidiaries, or for onward lending to these joint ventures and WOS. So two ways here. So the difference being again that, in the other commercial banks can lend your contribution which goes as debt in the JVs and OWOS. But we as Exim Bank have special permission to do the equity investment also. We think that when you are investing equity in the JV or WOS, that also can be funded by Exim Bank. This kind of dispensation is available only to Exim Bank. So and here, we've seen a lot of companies coming forward and doing asset acquisition, working capital. Recent past, we've seen a lot of companies seeing opportunities in the European markets because the pricing, the valuations of the companies are coming down. And also because the succession in Europe remains a questionable thing. So we're seeing a lot of traction in OIF in the recent past, and it's been one of the good programs of the bank. These are some of the examples of the OIF programs. Now, sustainable finance program. In the recent past, we have developed this program because we've seen that a lot of financing is also required for transition to low carbon pathways, right? So the borrowers which are in the sectors including solar and wind energy, clean tech, sustainable farming, these are the sectors that we are focusing on. But apart from that, support is also extended to companies where you want to transition. Like suppose if you are a company and you want to now set up a solar power plant for your manufacturing facility, that can also be covered under this program. Some concessions are also some interest rate concessions are also available under this program. To encourage companies to come forward and do these sustainable type of activities. Some of the examples that we have covered here in this. Now, I'll just quickly explain what is happening in this slide. On the left-hand side, you can see that, we are talking about the manufacturing part of the companies, or, where the support is required to develop the product. On the right-hand side, we are talking about the way we are supporting companies to develop their markets. So when we speak about markets, there could be two types of markets. It could be a developed market or a developing market. We have programs for both these markets, where we are, assisting companies in having their export bills discounted by doing under our factoring subsidy. And under the trade assistance program, we have partnered with banks in overseas jurisdictions, where we are giving a credit enhancement on behalf of these banks, so that your banks in India can easily, discount the LCs that the overseas banks are offering. So many a times what happens is, like, suppose there is a company in Africa with whom you want to do business and you want to export certain things there, and that company in Africa is offering an LC from his bank to you, but your bank in India may not be very comfortable in accepting or negotiating that LC. So in many cases, what happens is that such transactions do not go through. So here, what you can do is you can approach Exim Bank, and most often than not, many times it so happens that we've already partnered with that bank in one of the previous transactions. Or even if we have not partnered, we can always look at a new bank to partner with, and we can always help you in doing that transaction. So we will be either we will directly do the LC discounting, or we will do it through your bank. So whatever is the best feasible way, it can be worked out. So wherever there is a difficult geography, now you need not be worried about whether that transaction can be done or not done. You can always reach out to Exim Bank and check on what. And our website has also got the list of countries as well as banks with whom we have already partnered. So suppose if there is if your exporter is not having a banking relationship with one of the banks that we have partnered, you can always check with the exporter also, that if you can quickly set up a limit with that bank. I'll also be talking about the Ubharte Sitare program and these programs in the next slides in detail. So Ubharte Sitare program has been set up for those Indian companies that are future champions and with very good export potential, and they have a very good process, product, technology, which can help them to grow their export markets. Under this program, why we have set up this program separately is because under the program we are doing a very targeted approach towards funding these kind of companies who are actually if you can. I'm sorry for that. So here under this program, we are funding those companies who are having, who are very high in technology, or, who have a unique product or a process. But currently they do not find a funding partner to give them a boost to go ahead and, start their production or do their start their export journey. So under this program, we are giving assistance in three manners. One is by way of debt. Second is by way of direct investments in the company by way of equity or equity-like instruments. And third is by way of the technical assistance to these companies. This program is also parallelly being run in the track 2 along with SIDBI, where an initial corpus of 1,000 crore was set up. And I'm happy to say that we've already exhausted that 1,000 crore till today. Now, eligibility criteria under the program, of course, it has to be a mid-sized company up to a top line of 500 crore. And then the company, of course, like I mentioned, has to have a unique value proposition in terms of its technology, be it product or a process that is matching with the global requirements. Then it also has to be a company which has acceptable financials. So by way of acceptable, we want to say that, at least 3 years of past financials has to be there, and there has to be some exports in the company, or if it is not there currently, then at least the product has to be such that it should be able to get exported. That's the thing here. And lastly, and most importantly, it has to have a good business model and a strong management. Right? Now, the pillars of USP, as I spoke earlier, I'll just quickly tell you in detail, is the debt, equity, and technical assistance. So debt remains primary instrument that we use for partnering with these kind of companies. But yes, equity has also been one of the ways in which we are funding these kind of companies. Now, these are some statistics. Till date, we have supported around 106 companies, and almost more than 2,000 crore has been disbursed under the program. Some examples, you can see that these examples are coming from very high tech companies, right? So these kind of companies which are, a little bit more riskier, but yeah, they do need the support, are getting the support from Exim. Trade assistance program, this is like I mentioned in my earlier slide, that this program actually it's one of its kind trade facilitation program that has been set up by the bank, and till date we have already crossed 2,500 transactions, and we have helped in incremental exports for almost close to $4 billion under this program. These are the countries that I spoke about that have been onboarded by us. The banks in these countries have been onboarded by us. I'm sure that, majority of your clients will be from one of these countries. Coming to the Exim FinServe, like I spoke earlier, this subsidiary we had set up in Gift City in 2023. The subsidiary is doing, export bill factoring. And we all know about factoring, but I will not go into detail. I think my time is up. So, but we all know about export factoring. I will just touch upon what has Exim done. Like we've already supported more than 2,000 transactions, and incremental exports of almost $44 million have been supported under this subsidiary. Now, these are the features or the salient terms of the factoring program that we have. So in terms of market coverage that we have done till date, you can see USA, Canada, Europe, but also Mexico, Brazil, and Chile, which, generally are not the typical factoring geographies that you would come across. Again, currency offerings, USD, Euro, and we are also exploring other currencies. Payment duration, again, we can go up to 150 days. Generally, we have seen transactions being limited to 90 days. But in case of Exim FinServe, we are also looking at 150 days transactions. And yeah, this is some small example that it acts as a multiplier to your top line. And then lastly, coming to the export promotion mission. So just quickly, I'll speak about the export promotion mission. The bank has been, we are the implementing agency of the export promotion mission, under which there are two mechanisms. One is the credit assistance for e-commerce exporters under the export promotion mission, and the other is the support for emerging export opportunities under the same. Here, the TAP program that I spoke about is being scaled up by the government of India with the help of DGFT. We've got this listed under the EPM, and now companies who are, or the banks who are going to come and start dealing with us under this program for the MSME transactions can get interest equalization support as well as credit support from the NCGTC. So I know that the banks are not here, but of course you can always approach your banks and sort of tell them to if in case you have certain transactions and you are looking at doing it and the banks are not able to do it, specifically the MSMEs in the house, I would request them to reach out and speak to us. The program is available online as well. I mean, you can also go through the trade notices issued by DGFT, or you can visit our portal, which is tab.eximbankindia.in, to learn more about the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for that comprehensive overview of India Exim Bank offering. I'm sure our participants found the information extremely useful and will benefit from the various support mechanisms available through the bank. Participants, we are now open for the floor for questions and interactions. You can kindly ask your question or raise your hand feature, and I request our esteemed speakers to kindly respond to the questions from participants. So I kindly ask participants to ask your questions, please. Mr. Prashant Jain has raised hand. So Mr. Prashant Jain, please ask your question. Mr. N.K. Goel has also raised hand. Sir, please kindly ask your question. Mr. Sachin.
Can you hear me, Prashant here?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I have one question. Interesting to see that Exim is also supporting the R&D effort, which many companies will be doing in India now. So we have a scheme, RDIF scheme, which we earlier talked about in some of the presentation earlier, which is funded by Department of Science and Technology, right? So therein we have a loan at a rate of interest of 3 to 4%, moratorium of 3-4 years, and the payment cycle of next 10 years. So is your offer or the scheme is in that lines? Because when you talk about R&D, it is a longer process, because the gestation period of any R&D that we do goes up to maybe many years, like 2-3 years for doing the R&D, then product readiness, commercialization. So is that the same we can look out from Exim as well, or your scheme or offer is slightly different from that? And one more question I have, whatever products you have talked about, so all these products are collateral free, or of course they would be requirement of a collateral in all these type of funding that you'll be offering for? Thanks.
Right. So, the product that I spoke about, R&D product, it has been, instituted by the bank many, many years ago, even before the RDIF came up. So our product is not exactly the same as RDIF, but it is, much more in. So what happens is it's not for any product of Exim Bank, if I may say, it is not a straight jacket product. So what happens, even recently you would have read about the FM, honorable FM, saying that each company's requirements are different. So each company's requirements need to be, and the loan has to be tailor made for each company's requirements. Similarly, our R&D product is not only R&D, like I said, every product is actually tailor made to the requirements of the company. So we do not, because we are not a commercial bank, right? So we are in this business of lending to corporates only. We do not have current account, saving account, and things like that. So what happens is that we always work along with your existing setups, existing banks, and make the product suitable for your business. So it will never be like, just like, if I may just use the example of a housing loan, like, whoever comes, it is 8.5% for a 20-year loan, and, the repayment is going to be in so many EMIs. That's not how Exim works. So in terms of collateral, also similar thing remains. So we have done in the past zero collateral based lending also. Like I mentioned in so I can remember many cases where we have not taken any collateral, but I can also remember cases, and I do have reference of cases where we do take collateral. So like I mentioned, main security is of course something that we will look at. It is not an unsecured facility, whichever programs or products that I spoke about. But yes, as far as collaterals go, we are always open to discussions and we match the requirements of the companies and then, do the sanctions.
All right, thanks.
There are two questions through messages. One is SATCOM based devices are also covered. And another one is, are pure software products covered under Exim Bank scope?
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Sachin Bansal. Anu, may I ask my question, please?
मिस्टर
Sure,
गुप्ता
sir.
आप म्यूटेड हैं, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है.
It's okay. Sure, sir. You can ask your question.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, gentlemen. I am Sachin Bansal, part of Entry Group. There are two specific questions. One is to Mr. Arnab Roy. Sir, I have been a huge, great fan of Tejas. Being indigenized organization, I've been, working for Tejas, not exactly working for Tejas since year 2000 when Tejas was mostly into backhaul equipment, SDH, STM1, STM16 kind of equipments. And this is a wonderful growth what Tejas has shown in last 5 years. So I'll come to the point now. When we say that Tejas is into now more than just SDH and backhaul equipment, and there is no two doubt about it, but how are we dealing with the market, with a situation where most of the equipments or most of the parts are being manufactured in India, but for the critical components like chipsets and all, we still have to look beyond, Indian shores. So how are we coping up with that scenarios? Because lately we have developed India not just as a consumer market, but what you rightly said, as a market which can, produce for themselves but can export also. But this one critical component where we still have to depend on APEC regions mostly, how are we dealing with that, sir? So this is my first question, and the second question is to the Exim Bank representatives, that in case there is a sudden tariff hikes in the like, unfortunately the market scenarios which we are experiencing in US, there is no stability in the global tariffs. Week on week something is changing, and then some, so it's not yet stabilized. So what is the proposition what Indian Exim Bank offers in that, and how do we deal with that? So these are my two doubts, please.
Sorry, actually, Mr. Arnab Roy, he is very busy today, and because of that, he is attending. This webinar was supposed to end at 4 o'clock, so there was some scheduled meeting after 4 o'clock he was having. But we have Mr. Prashant Jain from Tejas. If he can answer your first query, I request Mr. Prashant Jain to respond to that.
Sachinji, the point is, yes, I agree. For the component, we will have to depend upon imports for quite some time, till the time the coming up scheme from METI schemes actually deliver some results. So, till the time we have that ecosystem available in India wherein we can get the components readily, we will have to depend upon the imports. But the strength of our always is the design, the software design, the hardware design. So that's what we are relying on. And I think that is giving us the results that we are looking for.
And for second query, I request ma'am to kindly respond to that.
So your second query was on tariffs, right?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So if I
मैंने आपको भेजा नहीं updated.
what, sir? I couldn't hear that.
I think you get, kindly muted, I think.
So, if I understand right, sir, you asked questions that say, that if tariff increases further, is there any scheme of Exim Bank that can?
इसमें अब्बास की जगह दूसरा नाम आया है. एक बार चेक कर लो.
Sir, kindly mute your participant. Kindly mute your microphones. If you are not speaking, please mute your microphones.
So, if I understand right, your query was that if tariffs are increased, then is there any scheme of Exim Bank that will be, helpful to the exporters? Is that right? What I've understood?
You are perfectly right, because ultimately, if I have done some proposal, I have submitted some response, and suddenly, some tariffs are increased. So ultimately, I mean, it's a huge burden on me.
Right. So two things here, sir. One is that, we being a policy institution, we have been also giving inputs to the government of India to develop, these policies which have now come up in as part of EPM also. So there again, and you would have also seen other schemes that have come out, right? Like the ECLGS 5.0 or the relief which has come out with ECGC. So these are the kind of inputs that institutions such as Exim Bank and ECGC provide to the government, and the government then comes out with incentives such as these. And then, of course, the exporters stand to be the beneficiaries of these schemes. As far as Exim goes, what we can do is that, we could again go back to the drawing board. Suppose if it is like you mentioned, it is at an initial stage of discussion. We can always structure the proposal in a way there where, you will be in a comfortable position to do the repayment. Scheme as such, we do not come out with certain, schemes which will be applicable, like I earlier mentioned, which will be applicable to all exporters at the same time. So we will have to sit down and see each exporter's need and then work around their cash flows and ensure that the payments come on time without any hurt to the company as well as to the bank. So that is what we will focus on, sir. But as far as schemes go, like I have said, we definitely provide. We always take these inputs from exporters like you and in turn, provide these feedback to the government, and then the government helps in coming up with the schemes which are again beneficial to the exporters. So that's how, in two ways, we can help the exporters.
I find one more question there, which is on incentives for software products.
Yes.
Yeah. So essentially, see, while direct fiscal subsidy, we used to have the merchandise export MEIS scheme that used to be there at one point of time. Now you have this remission of duties and taxes, the RODTEP of export products that is there. Now, under this particular scheme, you have select incentive for digital products, which is there in under IT, ITS services that are there. Under RODTEP, that is still there. And besides the SEZ or even the EDF framework, that is also somewhere to some extent that is there. And lastly, something called a market access scheme. Now, that has been, like Yogita was mentioning, and the EPM, there are two buckets. Niryat Disha and Niryat Protsahan. So in the Niryat Protsahan, the market access scheme gets benefited. So there are three aspects. One is RODTEP, which can be benefited. The market access scheme, which is under Niryat Protsahan, that is there. And of course, special economic zone benefits that are still there. But the one that used to be there earlier, the MEIS scheme, that is still, and that has been abandoned.
And there is one question: SATCOM based devices, are they covered? I think that those are covered.
My hands are raised. I think I'm not visible.
Yes, Professor Goel, he is Chairman Emeritus from TEMA, Telecom Equipment and Telecom Equipment Manufacturers Association. He has raised hands. Professor Goel, kindly ask your query, please.
Sir, there are two things, one compliment and one small question. Compliment, for the first time I've seen Exim Bank doing a very good presentation by the team of Rahul ji and Madam ji. Very nice. Thank you very much for this. We appreciate the role of Exim Bank for exports from India. We all know the export potential of telecom because, as you know, being a trusted country, and we are the only third country in the world after Sweden and Finland to make the 4G 5G equipment. The question is, I understand from my last meetings years ago that while you give the LOCs, can you impose a condition that only Indian manufactured equipment will be purchased under LOC? That is the question. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So under the LOCs, generally there is a condition that, a majority of the portion of the contract has to be done by the Indian exporters. So that condition is already there. So I think that takes care of your concern.
No, actually the problem is that when you say majority from Indian exporters, then in all the telecom products, it contains of gadda khodna, to erect towers, to provide electricity connections, I mean SI type of things. So the telecom equipment becomes a smaller part, and most of the companies, they claim that they are majority from Indian by way of these small things. The telecom equipment as such is not there, and that is the biggest problem we are facing as a telecom association.
So
Any
I'll give one
possibility
example.
to have this
I'll give
change?
one small example. What Yogita was mentioning, we have around 75% that is mandated with some leeway that is there. But so, for example, if I tell you, there is, you see in Africa for that matter, many of our LOCs used to be in Africa. Now in Africa, the northern part of Africa is largely where it's still a European flavor is still there. The dominance, though it has gone away, but the equipment are largely which are produced, manufactured, the sockets that are there, those are still aligned with European standards. Now, when India would like to anyone who have got a project under LOC there, they have to tailor-make their products according to their local needs. So though even if you are extending, let's say 100 million credit line that is there, 75 million would be India ready, or rather 10% will be leeway here and there. But then there will be still some segment that is locally required, which is attuned to their market, either produced locally or it has to be imported from Europe for that matter. So that sort of a leeway always has to be there when such big transaction in another third country we are doing. Yogita can correct me if I'm wrong.
Sir, I will just leave the topic here by saying there is no doubt that our equipments meet the world quality because they are all made as per the world standards. Telecom network in the world has to be of the same standard. Quality is not the problem. Our problem is we call market access. What we mean, 75% from Indian sources means also purchasing from Haldiram, Bhujaram or anybody else. I will just leave it here. I know the topic is not so simple, but consider in your bank, if possible, you can provide as per the list published by DOT. They have list of telecom equipment or something specific equipment because that is where the pinch is. That's all. I will leave it here. I know the topic is very difficult, but that's why I asked this question only. We would love if any LOC you can provide equipment. We are not waiting for the cost part. Our industry has shown we are cheaper than China. We are best than China. Nobody in the world makes a 4G equipment where you can make 1 crore calls simultaneously because the standard is 5 lakh. We make 1 crore simultaneous calls. So we are the best in the world. We only suffer for this thing. I will just leave it here. You can consider it and maybe discuss later sometime. Thank you very much. Thank you.
If there is no further question, over to you, Miss Anu Sharma.
I have one question more, sir, if I may.
Kindly
Yeah,
go ahead.
sure.
Yeah, ma'am, one question I have is majority of the LOCs that we see, right, from the telecom point of view, the end customer is not government, because whenever we sell our telecom equipment, like in India as well, we have Airtel, we have Jio, we have private players. When we go to outside world also, there are only private players that we see. So they're actually that type of, I mean, and even they want some support of help in terms of long-term credits. So that would be required. But there they get stuck because they being a private player, the sovereign guarantee becomes an issue and it doesn't happen. So I know without sovereign guarantee, it cannot go because we have been seeing it from last so many years. Many proposals have come and it has stopped there. But just a small question. So if that country cannot provide a sovereign guarantee, but as a supplier, I feel that the end customer or the private player that we are working with is a genuine. And if we do that part, if we give that sovereign guarantee, can the same LOC which we are okay to give to a government operator, can that same LOC be given? I hope I could make my question correctly.
Right. So I'll just rephrase the question as per what my understanding is of the question. So you are
Hmm.
saying that you have a private telecom player overseas to whom you want to export your equipment, and that
Hmm.
telecom player is an established player in the market, but he's not a sovereign
Hmm.
entity, and that is why
Yeah.
he is not able to give a sovereign guarantee.
Hmm.
And in place of a sovereign guarantee from his side, you are ready to provide a bank guarantee.
Correct, because the problem is where we get stuck is the other companies like the suppliers from the European or a China. They offer that long-term credits and all, but we don't have that option. So can Exim help us in such type of scenarios?
Can definitely look at this transaction because here ultimately the exports will happen out of India, and we can structure
Yeah.
it under another program of ours which is called buyer's credit, where we lend directly to the overseas buyer of an Indian exporter. But yeah, security structure, of course, needs to be worked out more diligently here, because what happens is in an overseas market, it becomes very difficult to take hold or take, it's very difficult to securitize the assets, right? So if it is
Hmm.
a it's not easy to for us to go into an overseas jurisdiction and claim that the asset is ours and try and sell it in their market. So this is security wise, of course, it can be worked out, but yeah, the transaction is doable under the Exim Bank's buyer's credit program. Two more participants are raising their hand, but I'm not sure if there is time available with us. Ms. Who can please come in?
As we have limited time, can we take only one final question, if you may?
So I'm unable to see raised hands anymore.
Yes, nah. So there is no raise hands. So can we move to the closing transition?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay. So first of all, thank you to all the speakers and participants for highly engaging and insightful discussion. The perspectives shared today have clearly highlighted the immense potential of India telecom sector and the opportunities available for exporters to expand their global reach, utilizing the product, service, and programs offered by Exim Bank to them. To formally conclude today's webinar, it's my privilege to invite Sri Dharmendra Sachin, General Manager, Corporate Communication Group, India at Exim Bank, to deliver the vote of thanks. Sir, may I request you to kindly take over, please?
Yeah. Thank you, Anu. Good afternoon, everyone. It was really a very interesting session. So, on behalf of India Exim Bank, I extend my heartfelt thanks to all the distinguished speakers and participants for making today's webinar both insightful and engaging. So, we had a very good questions. I would like to express our sincere gratitude to Sri Arun Gupta ji. I think because of him, this program has, we are here. His warm welcome remarks and for setting the context for today's discussions. My special thanks to Sri Arnab Roy ji. You all know that India Exim Bank has already, connection with the Tejas networks. So it was really nice and hearing from his side on comprehensive overview on Indian telecom sector and its evolving global landscape. I'm really thankful to my colleague, Mr. Rahul, for his insightful presentation, and Yogita for the on the corporate side, the product and services. Today discussions highlighted the remarkable transformation of India. I think we have seen the data growing from 7.4 billion in 2022 1 to 22 to 34 billion in 25-26 is really a fantastic growth. So these achievements reflect the growing competitiveness, innovation, and global acceptance of India's telecom companies. As India continues to strengthen its position as a trusted technology partner to the world, these are immense opportunities to leverage our expertise and support the digital transformation of emerging markets. We hope today's webinar was provided useful insights and practical guidance to help industry members to explore, capitalize on these opportunities. And sir, we would like to tell we are always available for you, the members of TPC. Anytime you feel any sessions to be organized, we are here. This webinar forms the part of, so just wanted to tell, we Exim Bank actually continues so many programs. So this webinar also forms the part of India's Exim Bank's ongoing efforts out to promote exports and enhance the global competitiveness of Indian enterprises through knowledge sharing and export capacity building initiatives. I would also like to thank the Telecom Equipment Service Export Promotion Council and all the industry participants for their active engagement, insightful questions, and valuable contribution to the discussions. My colleague has already shared the contact details in the chat. Anyone has any question, please do write to us, reach out to us. And I think Arun sir is already having the detailed contacts of us. Maybe through directly can come from you also. Welcome for that, sir. So thank you once again for your participation and support. We look forward to your continued association with India Exim Bank. Wishing everyone a wonderful day ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. With that,
Thank you. Thank you.
With that, we come to close of today's webinar on behalf of TPC and Indian Exim Bank. I extend our sincere gratitude to all the distinguished speakers, participants for joining us today. Thank you once again for your time and participation. We wish you a pleasant evening ahead. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
On behalf of TPC, I and its members, I convey very warm thanks to Exim Bank for educating the exporters, TPC members, their product, services, programs. Thank you very much, and I hope that the industry will be benefited by this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Back.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Back. Thank you.